Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much for hopping in. I know you're a busy guy.
Oh, well, and my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, okay. So I was just going to sort of introduce you and then sort of get you to introduce yourself, um,
Okay.
just so that I'm recording this and then we can use it later for things. So, yeah, did you want to just kind of introduce yourself?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
I'm Nick Rishwain, and I'm the Vice President of Client Relations and Business Development at Experts.com. And Experts.com is a online marketing platform for expert witnesses and consultants. So sort of a I fall somewhere in between working with lawyers and working with expert witnesses that lawyers need. So I work with both parties, and so that's kind of. I'm not sure how you found me. That'll be interesting to hear. But I work with lawyers and with expert witnesses on a daily basis.
Yeah, so my name's Leslie McDermid, and I work for BlackFin. So it's a digital marketing company, and we provide websites, SEO, social media, different things, and it's just to attorneys. So as a marketing coordinator, I wanted to see just different things people were doing in the community, in social media, live streaming, things like that. So I actually found you on Blab. I did a search for law firm, legal, marketing, different things like that, and I found you, and I saw you're doing like cool blabs about social media marketing world. You had a group and your legal tech blab, and I thought you're doing all these cool things with all these like innovative attorneys and things like that. So I thought it'd be interesting just to talk to you and see sort of how you got started with live streaming, what it's done for your community, for your business, and yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. So I guess I
Okay.
wondered how you got started with live streaming.
Okay. It's a good question. You know, I've been with experts.com for 6 years, and a couple of years ago, it took over kind of learning how to best use social media. And in doing that, we've been using it, but I wanted to learn how to use it better, more efficiently and effectively for marketing the company. And in addition, when we market the company, we're actually marketing our expert witnesses as well, and their content that they put on our website, and their profiles and all that. And you know, I wanted to be, Facebook, Twitter, these things had been out. We'd been active on them, but we hadn't been at the forefront of those when they came out. So I was looking for what do we think is going to be the next, what will be the next big thing, and how can we incorporate it for the benefit of our members.
Right.
And that's how I found. I started doing some research, and this was at the time that Meerkat was maybe peaking, and Periscope had just launched, and so I was like, okay, this live video, video clearly was becoming more important for professionals, for attorneys, for experts, for just about anybody in marketing. You had to have some video component, and so that's what I was looking at. And then I found Periscope, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I don't wasn't big on the one to many platform as far as how it might benefit our experts. Um, and in that search, I ended up finding Blab, which I thought, okay, this has some real potential for interviewing an expert witness, asking them to explain who they are, what they do, how they achieved their expertise, and really giving them an opportunity to promote themselves through an interview style, conversational style platform that you could record the video and then go ahead and replay the video or repurpose the video. And that's how I really, once I got to Blab, I was kind of all in on live video.
So do
Yeah.
you use it more as like a training opportunity or is it more for promotional?
More informational, more promotional, more broadcast or interview based. Um, not, I do. I think one of your questions. I don't want to. I don't want to say what your questions are, but you gave me some idea of what was coming,
Yes.
and and So I think the other platforms are important to use, and I'm trying to adapt to those as well for the company now. But this one was, I could do an interview of an expert and really get the personality behind the expert witness and
Right.
help them to show the personality themselves, including their knowledge on a subject, and that would allow them to really promote themselves without having to sell themselves, not having to hard sell themselves. And so
Right. More of like an educational
yes.
avenue. So then how do you reuse your content from Blab? Because I know you mentioned that you're able to do a Blab and then you can repurpose that content, which is huge for like multitasking, and you only have a certain amount of time for social media and there's all these platforms. So how do you take your Blabs and are able to reuse the information?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, we have them linked either on my Blab profile or the Experts.com Blab profile. As you'll see after you host, the one will show up on your profile, and then when it's over, they're going to email you the audio and the video and the raw recordings of those, and you can take that audio and you can take that video, and if you want to do a podcast, you can do it with the audio, and you can easily upload the video to your YouTube page, which is what we've done. Is we've uploaded the interviews that we have done of our expert witnesses. We've uploaded them to our YouTube page, and then we've also linked it on the member profile. So if you've never had a video done, so a lot of attorneys haven't done videos. A lot of experts haven't done videos. They're a little uncomfortable with social media and digital marketing as a whole. This gave them a chance to, now I've got a video,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's an interview-based video, and it's authentic. So that is sort of how we've used it, and it's Blab has made it very simple to do that.
So how do you see attorneys or law firms using Blab within their law firm? Because I know I've mentioned using different social media for attorneys, and there's that sort of hesitation because of confidentiality or different things, but you can use it as an educational purpose, right? So how do you see like law firms or like attorneys using it?
Using Blab or using live video as a whole?
I guess using just video as a whole.
Yeah, and that's a good question, and I think the difficult thing for attorneys oftentimes is adapting to new technology.
Right.
They're behind the curve almost all the time. Now there's a portion of them who are not behind the curve, but for the most part, they generally tend to be behind the curve because if they can't,
their focus is on something else. It's being a lawyer.
They're billing, or they've got clients in front of them, or they've got to get a certain number of billable hours, and they don't have time to deal with this stuff, or they don't think they have time, and they don't realize the value that it provides. And so how do they incorporate it? I think it's real easy. And I think attorneys have a lot of content, a lot of day-to-day content that they can produce. If you can't sit here for a half hour or 45 minutes or an hour video talking, showing your personality and so forth, you can turn on Periscope or you can turn on Facebook Live. You can do 3 to 5 minutes. If you're a personal injury attorney, you can give tips of what you can do right after an accident. It's just like the blog posts that people used to do, okay, or still do. They do them a lot. If you're an attorney who doesn't have the time to write or doesn't want to write, click record or click go live on Facebook Live or on Periscope and shoot out a 3 to 5 minute video on what to do right after an accident, immediately after an accident. What, motorcycle safety tips, estate planning tips, need to knows for estate planning, or how to protect your copyrights and your trademarks, little things like that, informational tidbits that you see attorney after attorney writing in a blog post, and that takes time, or if they're not spending the time, it's this big and it's doing them no good because there's no real valuable content to it,
right? Which
you see a lot of times with lawyer blogs, is that they're trying to do it, but they're not really, they're half-heartedly doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's just a comment that basically anything you've already produced can be delivered in video.
That's right.
Like, do you see things like FAQ pages and stuff like that turning more into videos instead of just
That's
written?
That's a good idea. That's a good thought. I'm not sure I had thought of that before. Um,
It's a
yeah,
possibility, right?
it's a
Like,
definite possibility. I don't see why you couldn't. Or you could do if you have enough followers, and many of these attorneys have hundreds and thousands of followers on Facebook or on Twitter. And if you go live, you can do some kind of question and answer. You're probably going to do highly recommended that you do your disclaimer up front, and maybe at some point the during the broadcast remind people that, look, I am a lawyer, I'm not your lawyer, or some variation of that. This is general information, not legal advice.
right.
And they're cognizant of that. They just need to remember to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna take some questions and do a little Q&A, or yeah, you could turn an FAQ page into a video. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that, and then you could update it pretty easily when you start seeing more of the regularly asked questions.
Right. So why do you use Blab? Like for an attorney, would you recommend more Facebook Live or Periscope? Because Blab's very much like a collaborative, more of a discussion, whereas Facebook Live and Periscope, I mean, you can get the questions and you could be answering, but it's more of like a broadcast more than a discussion.
Yeah, one to many. What I've heard referred to in many of the terms I use, they're not mine. They're the kind of terminology that those in live streaming use regularly, and Periscope, Facebook are one to many. So it's me broadcasting to whoever's watching. Those people can text chat in to me and ask questions that way. Where this is more of a conversational. So Periscope and Facebook Live are monologue, where this is an actual dialogue or quad log or whatever with four people. I don't know what that's called.
So have you used Facebook Live or Periscope? Like, do you
Yes,
enjoy those platforms?
not as much as this one, because of the relationships that this allows me to build.
Right.
Uh, you and I are now getting to know each other far better in digital eyeball to digital eyeball, far better than you get to know somebody on the other ends of Periscope or Facebook Live.
Yes, absolutely.
And for that purpose, I like this one best. For providing short informational videos, I like those better. And I think short needs to be a big part of that, because I think this is somewhere where you can come in and have a real conversation. And this builds the trust, or what's referred to as the know, like, and trust factor, much faster than other platforms. And that's live streaming or live video as a whole really improves your authenticity and your know, like, and trust factor. So
Right.
if you're an attorney and you're on there regularly, any of the three platforms that we've sort of discussed, and you're telling people what they need to do after they've experienced an injury, or they're dealing with a family member's death and having to figure out how to address the estate planning or now probate issues after a death, and those items, you're really giving people information that they need
Yeah.
and you're building some rapport with these people, and they're going, man, this person really knows what they're talking about. If
Exactly.
they're in my state or my jurisdiction, I'm realizing you're in Ontario, but if they're in my jurisdiction, then maybe this is somebody that I'd really like to use as my attorney in this situation, because I already feel like I know them, and they've already explained to me what it is I need to start thinking about, or the steps I need to start taking.
Yeah,
And
they've
that,
already given them value. They've already given something
yes,
without asking for things.
yes, without asking for anything, and they've given them, look, there's a face and a voice, and am I comfortable with this person? And okay, now maybe I'll go and do some more due diligence on the person that I'm going to hire. But it really gives them a face and a voice and If you're likable, you should be on these platforms. This is my one caution. If you're not likable, if you are not a likable person and you're a professional, a mature professional, you should know that. You should know already, right? But if you are a likable person, it's going to come across in these platforms, and that's going to really allow you to grow your audience and probably increase business. Now, I'm not saying it's going to, after your first Facebook Live video, you're going to be like, oh man, I've never had so many cases come through.
Yes.
No. You got to build the audience and build a community.
Exactly.
And you do that by being present, being consistent, and showing that that you are a human.
You mentioned the consistency. Do you recommend, if you are deciding to get into live streaming, that you sort of schedule a regular show? So every Tuesday you're doing your legal tip Tuesday or whatever. So it's a consistent thing. People know where to find you. They know when you're going to be updating.
Yeah, consistency is key. And this is one, due to having two hosts for the Legal Tech Live show, which is kind of unrelated to Experts.com, but kind of partially related since I'm in legal tech. But my co-host Ivan Rakelin and I do that show, and he's out of the country right now. So our consistency has been fluctuating recently. And luckily, it's a very niche show, so the people who are going to be interested in it will probably come back around. And when he gets back to the States, we probably get back to our weekly thing, where right now it seems like we're doing it every 2 weeks or so. But being consistent, if you can make that schedule where I'm going to do it once every 2 weeks, or I'm going to do it once a month, or I'm doing it once a week, and that's what I'm doing. Because if you're using this platform, you can probably do a conversation each week and bring people in, but you might want to go on to Facebook Live and say, hi, everybody, I'm going to have a conversation over on Blab. Here's the link. I'm going to have you come in and ask questions. You want to do some promotion, and then you can actually bring people into a seat and have them actually ask you a question online.
Right.
Otherwise, Facebook Live, you know, there are issues, there are legal issues, depending on your area of specialty, that are coming up daily. And you can take 3 or 5 minutes once a week to tell people about an issue and what they may need to look for when they're reviewing a contract or they're purchasing a piece of property or any of these items. You can take 3 or 5 minutes and be careful about this, or you know, tune your mind to think about these items when you're doing this, or you know, there's just a vast number of things that they can really. I think a lot of times for attorneys, the hard part is, what content do I have to share? Well, you have a ton. Let's identify it. You know, because that's the issue we have with expert witnesses. Well, I don't
think they have nothing to talk about.
I don't know. Yeah. You don't have anything to talk about? Didn't you just testify in a homicide case that included all this DNA and forensic evidence? And didn't you just do that? Yeah, but nobody's interested in that. Really? You know, like, tell me a little bit more about it. When they start telling you the story, you're like, this is pretty fascinating. I'm pretty sure you just wrote a case study, wrote an article, and came up with a short video that you could tell about the analysis that you did. Same thing with the law.
That's the biggest thing, is people don't realize how much they actually know. Like, they think, oh, well, everyone already knows this. Like, I deal a lot with social media, and there's like thousands of social media experts and gurus. I'm definitely not a guru, but there's all these people that are always sharing their knowledge, and there's experts, but you always know something. And when you grow that community, you can still share your knowledge, and you have your own unique opinion on something, or there's always something that you can share. You just have to kind of dig deep and think of like an angle even.
Yeah. And people, I think one of the hardest parts, this isn't just for attorneys, it's not just for expert witnesses, it's for people in general. They're afraid of speaking in public, and they kind of view live video as the same. You know, and then when you emailed me planning this, you said, I'm a little bit nervous about it. And it's really nothing to be nervous about. There are 3 of us in here. And one of them is, you know, and one of them's a friend of mine, Dawn Carter, and she's visiting and asking some questions. And there's three of us. Yeah, people might see it later, but people think I'm going to go live and the entire world's going to see me.
Yes.
Right. And then I freeze up and I get nervous. Well, no, not the whole world's going to see you. It's just not the case.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
100 people might see your video on Facebook or 200 or something like that, but it's not as frightening. And then when you have somebody that you're having a conversation with, that's what really made Blab a better spot for me initially to get over that fear of just going live and what am I going to talk about.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm just having a conversation with a couple other people.
Well, and my big fear too is I'm afraid of public speaking, networking, like going to an event and networking. So I find that going on a Blab and just having sort of some questions set up that I'm going to talk to you about, it almost gets you more comfortable with networking because it's basically what you're doing right now is you're online networking and you're reading comments on the side and you're answering and sort of connecting a little bit. I mean, it's different because you're online, but it's almost like I use Snapchat as practice for being on video because I don't know why, but Snapchat seems less daunting for some reason. I think maybe because it's only there for like
10
24
seconds.
hours. Yeah, exactly.
And
you're
it
just
disappears.
yes, and it's more of a fun thing, and you're sharing funny filters and things like that. So I don't know. I see a huge opportunity with Blab just to, like you said, show your personality, kind of humanize your brand, and just educate people and have that discussion and give them some value.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And a friend of mine, Mitch Jackson, who, if you're aware of attorneys on social media, then you're aware of Mitch Jackson. Kind of, he is. I would call him, and I'm sure there's a few folks in here who would agree with me that he's sort of the legal leader in social media.
Okay.
Great guy, California Attorney of the Year 2013, and is really just all in on social and legal tech advances and so forth. And he calls it, and I'll have to find his blog post for you on this and tweet it to you later, but he had a blog post about how live video, and he had the acronym with it called Be Human, and BEHU, and each one's stood for how to humanize yourself, how to show your personality and your authenticity on live video, and it really, and how much it really sells you. There aren't very many people here watching right now, but we've had more engagements. Our social media activity has gone up significantly since we started embracing live video. I've had at least 2 podcast interviews and several of these types of interviews. So when you start to do this and people start to recognize you and know you, then they ask you to come and do things like this.
Right.
And that keeps building your network and
Exactly.
keeps building your community. Same goes for a lawyer. If everybody in your area, in your region, is watching your videos and sharing with people, and you're building your network of potential clients.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if once you start hearing about different people and I know what you do, if I ever hear of someone that's asking for something like that, or you see something written online, you instantly think of the person that you have a relationship with. So even if I don't even live in the United States, but if I start getting some relationships or whatever, building like a community with certain attorneys, and you hear of someone who needs someone in that area, you're going to recommend that person. And word of mouth is huge. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've built friendships with attorneys and with legal marketers. We've got Nancy Maryland. She's here with us tonight. She's also a legal marketer. You and Nancy would probably have many things in common. Dawn Carter is a marketer as well, in digital marketing. And these are people I think of for different reasons, right? But these are the people who are top of mind because the 3 of us especially have built our relationships starting on this platform. As I recall, ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, but we met each other on this platform, built a relationship on this platform, and we've taken it to other platforms.
Yeah.
And we've taken it not just to our Facebook pages, but now to our own personal Facebooks where I'm friends with these people. And it really has increased not only my working network, but also my personal network and personal friendships. I've built friendships. I've met several of the people that I've met through live streaming now in real life, and people refer. Now I have far more people sharing my content than we ever had before, or sharing the Experts.com content, not just my content, but the Experts.com content than ever before, because even though we were on social media for years, once they were able to put a face to the brand, it just really changes your rapport with your community.
Yep. And for someone like me that we're always trying to think of different content things, so we're doing a marketing report and we want to feature industry experts, doing things like this, I get to know, like, oh, if I have a question about marketing, maybe I'll ask one of these lovely ladies that have joined us today and get their input and include them in our marketing report. And then it gets their name out to our audience and they get to say, hey, I was in this report. So it just kind of, I don't know, it's a positive thing. It helps build everyone up.
It does. And I've found that live streaming is also a great way to do some social good. So attorneys, oftentimes, Mitch's goal is, it's been stated to me from Mitch on, I think, more than one occasion, is to let people know that attorneys are people too, and they're actually can be pretty well liked.
Yes.
You know, they're decent people. They're not all bad. And that's really an unfortunate side effect of having to deal with the judicial system and not necessarily a individual attorney. So the fact that attorneys are disliked oftentimes comes from having to actually go to court and deal with. It's slow. It takes forever. It costs a bundle, and then I don't get the result that I want. Yeah, right. It's not very fun, but that's not always necessarily an attorney's fault. That's just who you had the most engagement with.
Right.
Well, this can help you talk about those issues up front. Talk about how maybe not every case that you think is a case, not every wrong that's been done to you is necessarily one that you need to take to court, you know, because it's going to be costly and it's not going to, the chances of it resulting the way you want are very slim. And these are ways that the lawyer can learn to communicate with their clientele ahead of time. Look, guys, if somebody owes you $5,000, you're gonna pay me $2,000 to try and collect the $5,000, and then you may not get anything back. So maybe, you know, and that's a small claims issue, at least in the U.S. So it's probably not the best. It's probably not the best example.
But it's a good example because it just education for people and
not everything do you want to, you know, get an attorney and go to into a litigation, because it just can be very time consuming. It can be very hard on you and your family, and so those are items that they could bring to the forefront and talk about with their potential clients before they're even a client. But that's building a rapport. That's building the know, like, and trust this particular attorney.
Right. So other than, you mentioned Mitch Jackson, right? So that's someone that I'm going to start watching because I'm very interested in what people are doing and the different niches, like with BlackFin, since they only deal with attorneys. I'm just interested to see people that are sort of innovative and doing cool things in social media. Who else have you spoken with that you're like, wow, they're on Snapchat, they're doing this and that, and have this huge community? Is there anyone else that you've met along the way?
Yeah, I'll tell you that not only have I met them and follow them on a professional basis, but I've become friends with several of them. But Nicola Bood, who's got the Gen Y Lawyer podcast, and Nicole and I now talk on like a daily basis. She's down in LA, I'm in Northern California, but we've got some interests in common and we've become good friends and cross promote each other's stuff. She cross promotes Experts.com We do the same with her podcast. She's got the Gen Y Lawyer podcast.
I have her
Jeff,
on Snapchat.
what's that?
I have her on Snapchat.
Okay, you do.
She's
Yeah.
cool.
And
Yeah.
she's great on Snapchat, and she's, again, a very likable attorney.
Yes.
That's not always the case, or that's not always the case as people understand attorneys, I guess.
Right.
Jeff Weinstein out of Texas is a personal injury attorney. Met him at Social Media Marketing World, had him on a Blab where the group of us who went to Social Media Marketing World from the legal community sort of got together to introduce each other because we didn't all have a chance to meet at the conference. Scott McMullen is an attorney out of Maryland. And great guy, become friendly with Scott, and he does some fun, innovative stuff on Snapchat that is informative. And he's also got a podcast, the Annapolis podcast. Ivan Rakelin, my co-host for the Legal Tech Show, is a recovering attorney, as he likes to say. Tatiana Gray is another kind of, she's in the former attorney space where she now does angel investing. So there are attorneys on here. They are engaged. Not all of them are necessarily practicing anymore, but I'm sure you're familiar with Jerry. Are you familiar with Jerry Oginski out of New York? He does a lot of YouTube. Jen Haverstad, thank you for reminding me, Nancy. Jen, she's more in the recovering attorney space, but also an attorney who's now a marketer. No, I don't think it needs a T at the end there, Nancy. I think, if I recall. Nancy Maryland, again, legal marketing, but, we're all in very similar professions now, either law and marketing somehow combined. Who else? I mean, there's been a lot. Chrissy Watson, the outlaw mom blogger, I think it is. She's a lawyer as well, but she does some really interesting, I think she's in intellectual property, and then has a kind of a cool blog about motherhood and things like that. There's quite a few, and quite a few real innovators. Mary Redzik from Disrupt.legal. She's an innovative blogger in the legal space and sort of in the legal tech space as well. And, there's a lot. There's more than the attorneys think. And I think what attorneys need to do in social media is stop just pushing out content and learn how to engage. Some of them who are good,
right?
I got to hand it to them if they're creating content and pushing it out. That's like step one, which a lot of them won't do. Step two would be, now that you've got content, maybe reuse some of it and try engaging with people on social media rather than just pumping out content and not cross promoting or anything like that.
Okay. Have you seen, since you started working with different experts and getting them to do videos and that kind of thing, have you seen any of those experts kind of, I don't know if you could say explode their business, but get bigger in their business?
I can't say explode because our model is a little different. We don't broker the engagement. We help facilitate the engagement. We don't broker it. So it's a membership site. So our members pay to be on the site. Attorneys can search the site, communicate with the experts directly, retain them directly, and they don't need to contact us. But I know so we don't always get that feedback that we were retained. I know for certain one member that we did a video for who said an attorney watched that video, hired him because of the video, because he knew he could see him, see how intelligent he was, see how good he was at answering my questions in a real life situation where it's unscripted, and get a real feel for the knowledge, the intellect, and the ability to think on your feet and be personable, because he is a likable guy, and he was able to show that, and that sells in front of a jury. And so There's
Right.
1 hour taken out of his day. A case could then pay an expert witness $20,000 to $100,000, over time, or far more, depending on what type of case it is. So he takes 1 hour out of his day, does a video. What's the value?
And Nancy just said it's more of, right. Nancy just said it's more of a long-term play for professional services, which absolutely, right?
You're probably not going to get that instant case, or if you do get an instant case, it may not be the 7-figure settlement case or the 7-figure verdict case. You gotta build a reputation. Live video just allows you to do that much quicker.
Okay. I just wondered if, we'll wrap up soon, but what your biggest takeaway from social media marketing world was, because I know that's an awesome conference to go to. I hope to go next year.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway, and if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and put the link to the blog that I wrote from it, and then I'll kind of explain it for those who might listen. But the big takeaway is kind of a threefold thing. You need to be on social media, and this goes across the board. I've never practiced law. I went to law school. I don't practice. Never did practice, but I'm familiar enough with the practice of law that this goes for either expert witnesses, litigation support folks, or attorneys. You need to be on social media. You've got to start building an online community. And live video is the future of marketing. Those are the three takeaways that I came up with. Is you got to be on social, got to build a community, and live video is the future of marketing. Now, maybe it's only the next 5 years. Maybe something else really cool and really innovative will come up, whether it's artificial intelligence or virtual reality or 360 video. But right now, for the foreseeable future, live video is where it's going to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. So where's the best place, I guess, in here is sort of your own community. I think people know you more than they know me, but where's the best place for people to contact you or follow you?
So you can get me at a couple of different places. Obviously, you can get to the company at www.experts.com. You can email me at info@experts.com, and find us on Twitter at experts_com. And then I'm at experts.com-VP, which is long, but that's where I'm at that's my personal Twitter for the company. I guess professional Twitter.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I super appreciate talking to you. You've given me lots of different ideas, and I'm going to share this with everyone at BlackFin, because I think sometimes when you're talking social media and videos for attorneys, it's hard for people to kind of see what options there are for people. So I think this is really
good. I hope it's
great.
helpful. I hope it's helpful, and I'm sure we'll be talking again in the future. I know we followed you on Snapchat from the company account, and then I did it on the personal side as well. So
yes, Snapchat's fun.
It's a good time, and I on my personal account I don't follow everybody back because I have way more fun there than the professional that I do here. So
yes. Perfect. Well, if no one has anything to add, I guess we'll wrap it up. But thanks everyone for coming.
Or
I appreciate
if Nancy
it.
had anything to add, if you want to bring in a legal marketer, she might have some cool stuff to add. Nancy, if you have the time today.
Yeah, absolutely. If she wants to jump in.
We'll see if she responds. No, she's got a full plate today with animal issues. Her dog is having surgery, so it may not be the best time for her today. But she's somebody definitely to follow on Twitter and get to know. Don Carter,
absolutely.
you want to get to know, and I see Mark Gawith is in here too. Mark does the .live domains, he sells the .live domains, and has found huge value found huge value in the live streaming community because having a .live domain and .lawyer domain, he does do.
Yes.
I forgot. Thank you, Don, for letting me know. He also sells the .lawyer domains. So that's pretty.
Cool.
You don't just have to do a .com anymore. There's a lot of other options. So,
absolutely.
Anyway.
Cool. Well, Nancy said she was said rain check. So I would love to talk to you sometime, Nancy. I'll hit you up somewhere.
You get her and let me know, and I'll try and join that one as well, and maybe have a different topic.
That would be cool. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.